Welcome, viewers and listeners, to another edition of CHP Talks. I'm here with one of my good friends and fellow staff member here at Christian Heritage Party of Canada, Mr. Ken Stouffer. He is our National Development Director. He served for some time as my deputy leader, and now he is functioning and really a key part of our staff. I'm going to give you a little introduction to it. Ken, first, I want to just say thank you for joining us today, taking the time to be with us.
Glad to be here, Rod. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. So for those who don't know Ken very well, Ken's been interested in politics since his university days when he studied political science at University of Toronto. And in some years past, he was involved with the Federal Conservative Party. He's done a lot of work with them, putting up signs, knocking on doors, phoning supporters at election time, and so on. His experience in business before he came to work with us, he had 5 years of selling life insurance and over 30 years of recruiting people for professional and management roles in businesses like Maple Leaf Foods, Walmart, IBM, Honda, and so on. And that has given him a good understanding and appreciation of the business world. He was a self-employed recruiter for 13 years based in Alliston, Ontario. And his career has always been very people-oriented and sales-oriented, and that is the root and branch, of course, of political work. So a few years ago, Ken jumped on board with the CHP due to the crisis he saw our country facing. And he realized that we Canadians are in this crisis because as a nation, we've drifted away from God. And he saw that the only solution for Canada is to turn back to God, and the only political party pointing us back to God is the CHP. And he believes, as I do, that we desperately need truly conservative voices in Ottawa, firmly rooted in the values that made Canada strong and free, and who aren't muzzled by party discipline and political correctness. Ken has been very focused on Canada's amazing Christian heritage, and he wants to help people understand it is our biblical principles that created Western civilization and made Canada free and prosperous. And there's a lot more we could say about Ken, but it's been a pleasure working with Ken the last few years in his role as development director. He has helped us move the ball down the field. He's helped us interact with some of our allies in the political realm, and we really appreciate the work he does with the party. Most recently, he has been a key part of the convention committee as we are planning for our CHP Canada Triennial Convention in Ancaster, Ontario. So, Ken, thanks. I'm going to ask you today a little preview because next week is our convention. So, how is that going? Are there any last-minute details you and the convention committee are still working out?
Oh yeah, we'll be working out last minute details till the very end, but it's largely in place. 99% looked after. Things are shaping up really well, and I'm really looking forward to the lineup of speakers that we have coming up at the convention. Just we have these speakers are men of God who have a unique understanding of politics and the Christian's responsibility to be involved in politics, and are going to have some insights to share with us on what we as Christians need to do to rebuild. I mean, really everything. Our churches need to be rebuilt. Our country needs to be rebuilt. Everything needs to be rebuilt. We're in a very difficult spot right now as a nation, and like for instance, we have Andrew DiBartolo will be kicking off our convention, and Andrew has experience as a pastor, and he's also now director of operations with Liberty Coalition Canada. And Andrew writes he has I think it's a Substack, and he writes really insightful articles, and it's like a lot of the commentary that he offers up on the Liberty Coalition Canada podcast, Liberty Dispatch, where he has very good insights and he really ties it into the biblical principles. And so having Andrew with us is going to be a real blessing. And then on that on that first full day of the convention, Josh Alexander, the young man from Renfrew, Ontario, that got kicked out of his high school for simply standing up to the insanity of this transgender bathroom policy that they had going on at his high school. And so Josh has been very involved in speaking up and speaking out and being a voice uh, for biblical worldview. And if people haven't seen his interview with Jordan Peterson, they ought to look it up on YouTube because Josh and his brother were interviewed by Jordan Peterson. It was a lengthy conversation, and Josh and his brother just they represented Jesus so well. They were just unabashed about their Christian faith and spoke so well to Jordan Peterson about the influence of Christ in their life. And and then we have Aaron Rock as a one of our he's our keynote speaker, and he's the pastor of Harvest Bible Church in Windsor, Ontario, and he has a podcast called Leadership Now. And if people haven't listened to his podcast called Leadership Now, it will be something well worth tuning into. There's great content there, and so I get to hear Aaron from time to time because one of my daughters and her family attend Aaron's church, so I get the blessing of participating there once in a while, and then our last but certainly not least speaker from outside of the party is Nate Wright, and Nate is the Canadian director of the Ezra Institute, which was founded by Joe Boot, and Joe has been a speaker at two or three Ezra events, or sorry, at CHP events that I know of. And Nate will be talking. And Nate, you and I both heard him at that Politics in the Pulpit convention
Yeah,
at his
tremendous.
church in Ingersoll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very, very, very astute, very easy to listen to, and he really gets right to the meat and marrow of the thing when it comes to Christians involvement and the need for us to be involved with politics.
yeah, exactly. And Nate is the pastor. I've known Nate for many years. We worked together on a committee when back a number of years ago, and I really enjoyed working with Nate. And he's one of those pastors that really speaks up for orthodoxy. Like he's and he does it in a very kind and diplomatic way, but he has that courage to speak up rather than sit back and be silent. And so we're just gonna have a great time of getting some very insightful perspectives on our responsibilities as Christians and as citizens of Canada, and how what we need to do as Christians to take back our country, which you go back 130 or so years ago, it was a very Christian country, but man, we have gone a long way away from that now.
Right. So, for those who may not know, many of our listeners and viewers are members of the party and get the updates, weekly communiques, and are visiting our website regularly. But on our website, chp.ca, there is a block there on the front page that would take you to the convention website. And I guess the one thing we should let people know, like the deadlines are passed. It's too late to become an attendee, either as a delegate or an observer. We've kind of made all those arrangements. However, something really exciting is happening this year. So first of all, we're starting Monday evening, this coming Monday evening. Elaine and I will be there in Ancaster at Redeemer University, where our convention is being held, and we will be lodging there as well as holding our meetings there and feeding there, and all the good stuff that happens at conventions from Monday evening, the 12th, to Thursday noon on the 15th, right?
Yep.
And then the national board is going to have a meeting following that, and we'll tie things off Thursday evening. But the good news we have never done before, we intend to have a good portion of this convention live streamed. So, what can you tell us about the live streaming, Ken? I know we haven't done it before, so it's a brand new experience.
Yeah, one of our members, Kevin Schultes from out in Edmonton area, he is quite technologically oriented, and Kevin is looking after setting up the streaming, and so we will be streaming our guest speakers as well as three workshops, as well as the opening ceremonies on the Monday evening, and we will be getting a link, an email will be sent out to our members sometime between now and Monday with a link that they can connect to view these different events, and there will also be an agenda so they know when when each of these things is happening.
Okay, so that's great. So, members who are listening, just be aware that you will get an email that'll tell you how to connect and view the live streaming of these various events. And there's going to be some very exciting speakers there. If you're not a member, then this would be a tremendous time to become a member and ensure that you also receive the link. We think it's important for our members, particularly to participate as well as they can. Some people, for various reasons, are unable to attend, the scheduling conflicts and whatever. Not to mention it's a big trip across the country, but we do want as many members as possible to have access to these tremendous speakers. You also, aside from the speakers that you've mentioned, we have several workshops going on. What can you say about those workshops, Ken?
Sure. Well, Kevin Schultes, the one just mentioned, who's technologically savvy, he's going to do a workshop on how to take advantage of technology and social media. And Jim Enos is going to be doing a workshop on local political involvement and the importance of local political involvement. And there will be three of our EDA CEOs and one gentleman who's representing the CEO from actually your EDA.
Skinnaboka
Um,
Valley.
that's right. So these four gentlemen are going to be sharing uh, their insights in terms of things that EDAs can do to grow the party. So those are the workshops that we're having.
Those will be tremendous. And then in between, the opening ceremonies are always a great thing to participate in and witness. In between, we're going to have plenary sessions where we will be bringing forward largely the work that's been done by the Policy and Strategy Committee over the past 3 years since our last convention. And there will be resolutions on agriculture, on life and family, on education, on national defense. Basically, we think we already have the best policy book in the country of all the political parties, but we always are looking for ways to improve things, add things that have become current issues, and so on. And so that'll be a great time. Those will not be live streamed. Those will be just sessions for our delegates to participate in, but we certainly will be reporting on the results of those resolutions following the convention. And what else is going on there? I guess, well, I'm going to tell you one of the things I'm looking forward to. We have several new candidates that I have not yet met in person. And some of them are coming from long distances, and some of them I have spoken to all of them on the phone. But I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to greet and interact with these bright new candidates. We have some tremendous candidates that are joining our team for next year, and they're coming to participate in making the Christian Heritage Party of Canada the best vehicle it possibly can be to carry the issues of life, family, and freedom to our voting public. So that's one of the key things I'm really looking forward to, as well as greeting and interacting with many of our longtime members who have attended many conventions. Some of them have been candidates in the past or have been on EDA boards and so on, provincial councils, or on the national board even. And so it's always great to get together with good friends and discuss things that are important to us and to our country.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Anything that we haven't covered, Ken, that you want to make sure our viewers and listeners know about in relation to this convention, which starts next Monday?
Yeah, it starts next Monday, and something in relation to Nate Wright. I think I mentioned that he's the Canadian director of the Ezra Institute that was started by Joe Boog, but he also is a co-host of a podcast called the Rebel Podcast on the Reformed Rebel Network, and it's very good. They have great content. He and a friend of his, who's also an elder at the church, do this, and I enjoy it personally. I enjoy listening to that podcast as well.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Ken, and the convention committee that has been working so hard to bring it all to pass. We're going to have also, I know, a side note, or many notes, really. We're going to have a young lady who's a very accomplished pianist, is going to give us some background music during this time. She's just volunteered to present that for us. So that's going to be a treat for many of us who enjoy good music. But I want to thank you and the committee for your hard work. It takes a lot of planning to pull something like this off. You guys have done a tremendous job, and I think it's going to be great to be at Redeemer University in Ancaster, near Hamilton. That's a university that has done a lot for young people entering into adult life, completing their education, training for careers and whatever, and they have been an influence for Christian values in our country. So want to appreciate the fact that we're able to have our convention on their grounds as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful campus there, and it'll be a great opportunity for fellowship amongst the different people that are there.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you there, Ken. And I know your committee is meeting tonight, so God bless you in your work. And thank you for being such a key part of the Christian Heritage Party of Canada. We really appreciate your work on many levels, and this is just one of the areas. You've done a great job lining up speakers and workshops and so on, and I know it's going to be a great week for the Christian Heritage Party.
Great. Thank you, Rod.
God bless you. Tune in again next week, folks, for another edition of CHP Talks.